there's no one in this country, and you've had His Excellency the President himself, no one will take away the right of the Kenyan people to enjoy the freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution. Freedom of assembly, freedom of association, freedom of expression. It's a rule of law government. What, however, I must be very categorical about is this. You cannot enjoy your right in a manner that is inimical to the development of others. For example, you have witnessed incredible scenes this week. I had a meeting yesterday morning with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. This week alone, whether it's through the stock market or through the business community across the country, we've lost over 15 billion shillings in business. I mean, people's businesses that have been looted. You've noticed what happened in Kisumu where supermarkets have been looted and so on and so forth. Surely, is that peaceful demonstration?
And so, Waziri, if you don't do it in the CBDs, why should you do it? What are the designated areas for you to protest?
What business do you have interrupting innocent people who are going about their duties? You saw the other day the operators of Antonio's Grill, the restaurant in town. I mean, people going about their businesses in the morning, receiving drinks and preparing themselves to serve lunch and preparing themselves to serve dinner to their customers and so on. All their drinks are stolen. And innocent people driving around town, you know, moving about their businesses, their cars are vandalized, windscreens broken and so on, and they're dealing with untold losses, as it were. We will not allow unruly and violent demonstrators to approach the central business district. For obvious reasons, if they break into banks, for example, if they break into M-Pesa shops, if they break into all these, the untold losses that our business people are suffering, is that fair? Really, is that fair?
That is quite reasonable, Waziri. But then again, you just said that there are demonstrators who come to the office of the President or Jogo House at the Ministry of Education. The IEBC offices are in the CBD anniversary towers. Why can't Kenyans who want to express their agitation against the Commission be allowed to go at least to the anniversary towers?
You can peacefully march to any public office, present a memoranda or a protest and leave. As long as that is the intention, they will not. You have noticed how the police have restrained themselves.
Before we get into the details of your statement yesterday, there are people who have already defied your orders or your directive yesterday. There are people who are demonstrating into the central business district of Mombasa and Kisumu, excuse me. So what is the prescribed remedy for persons who access those CBDs?
Those who give notices to the police, because the law is also very clear. If you notify the police of a demonstration, you have a responsibility then to manage the demonstrators, to ensure that the demonstrators are peaceful, they obey the law, and they conduct themselves responsibly and they do not damage property. If you don't, then you also carry the burden of making up for the activities they engage in. And then, by the way, just so that you know how committed we are to follow the law, those who have done that in Mombasa, for example, those who have gone to places where they ought not to have gone, if they have caused them damage, we will for sure insist that they are charged.
Well, that is consistent with your statement yesterday, that those demonstrators need to give notice. And you said that you're going to take action against, you require action taken against the executive director of NASA, that is Norman Magaya, because you're saying he notified the police on 6th of October. But according to the Public Order Act, it requires that a license be issued by the security forces, in this case the National Police Service. No such a permit was given. Even in the letter of Norman Magaya, it was not seeking any permit, and it was categorical that it was not an application for permit. So how then do you take action against him, yet there is no permit given?
But if that is the case, then he faces very serious problems, because first of all, we'll have to be charged for organizing an illegal demonstration, and because there is evidence he requested for it, then we will have to insist that he faces the cost of the damages that were caused to property. And as I said yesterday, by the way, and that's how rule of law government operates. Let's all go before a magistrate. We'll make our case, he'll make his case.
Okay. You advised the businesses that have been affected in the CBD, especially for Nairobi, to report at the OCS Nairobi. And also, after that, you'll be demanding for compensation from Norman Magaya and company. Do you think that's quite practical? Because you've seen, in the past, you've seen politicians, you're not a politician, you've seen politicians making such a case. If I may remember correctly, former MP Minor Commander went and recorded statements at the OCS Nairobi, but action was never taken. Do you think it's practical to surcharge Norman and company?
I don't want to be speculative at this point in time. I have met and known the intention of the government. We will pursue it to its logical conclusion. That's all I can say. We will pursue it to its logical conclusion. And in case anyone is doubting our resolve, they will soon be very sorry about it.
Let's get to the specifics of your statement yesterday. And you said that you are directing that the demonstrations not be conducted in the CBDs because you feel, or from your research, is that there have been attacks on police stations. Which police station are we talking about, and how many?
There was an attack on a police station in Siaya. There was an attack on a police station in Kisumu. A police officer was injured in Siaya. A gun was taken from him, and the gun was burnt by the group of thugs who purportedly were demonstrating against the IEBC and so on. We're not talking about fiction or things that did not happen. We have facts, we have records, investigations are going on. And some of these cases, by the way, may not necessarily be treated the same way as we are talking about. In addition to demanding that those who gave the notifications face the music, we are also going to demand that we will charge some people with the criminal offenses, because assaulting a police officer or assaulting anyone for that matter, even you as an individual, is an offense.
Waziri, there's a report by the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights that cited 37 deaths between August the 8th election and then up to the month of September. They said that out of the 37 people, 35 were victims of police excessive force. So in a sense, it shows that it is the police who have contributed to the death of those citizens. How do you explain, even as you go ahead to disallow demonstrations in CBDs?
I have not seen the report, number one. And then secondly, when I see the report, I like to compare it with the report that has been done, or that is being done by the Independent Police Oversight Authority, and the report that has been done by other people. Then I'll also look at the report that has been done by the police themselves. You know, a lot of people bandy accusations of all kinds against the police and so on. And on this particular one, I want to address this issue as a citizen of this country. The police officers we have in the country are not angels. We are not angels ourselves as public officers. And the citizens are not angels either. We make mistakes, the citizens will make mistakes, the police will make mistakes. What I prefer is that when mistakes have been committed, we methodically go to the bottom of the matter, and once the investigations lead us in a particular direction, we do what the investigations tell us to do.
But Waziri, on 12th of August, just a day after the presidential election declaration, you stood outside this office and you announced that there is no person who was specifically demonstrating that had been killed or injured out of police action. Do you now know any person who might have died, or rather the number of people who might have died out of police action since that time?
I am not aware of anyone, any peaceful demonstrator who has been shot dead by the police, and I do not know of one to date. During that press conference, I told you I had been informed and briefed about 8 deaths by the police, and the police officers could give account of each of the 8 deaths. People who were killed in Madari were breaking into hardware. A group of people who had entered a compound in Kisumu, and they actually had burnt a vehicle in the compound. They were about to rape a woman in that compound. People who had burnt 25 kiosks in Kisumu. People who were entering, breaking into a shop in Maseno. The 8 that I was told about were people who were killed in those circumstances. You know, people bandy things around and say, oh, you know, the minister gave a shoot to kill order. A shoot to kill order is a legal issue. I have not given any for the 2 months I've been acting here. And I am not aware of any minister during the Jubilee administration who has given a shoot to kill order from Interior. Lenku did not do it, General Kaiseri did not do it. I have not done it.
And so, Waziri, early this week when there were demonstrations, especially in Kisumu, I think it was on Wednesday, and there were reports that 14 persons were injured, some of them with bullet wounds that are attributable or attributed to the police. When is the right time for a police officer to actually use their rifle? I know you're not the Inspector General of Police, but when is the right time?
Police are allowed to use live bullets when there is imminent danger, when their lives are in danger.
As we near the end, some of the National Super Alliance leaders have argued that it is the responsibility, and actually it is, for the police officers to maintain law and order even during the demonstrations. And they are saying that instead of disallowing demonstrations in the CBDs, does it mean that the police are unable to contain the demonstrations?
You know, Sam, what they're saying is fine and dandy, and with tremendous respect to them, because some of them are elected leaders. To be very honest with you, is this economy the responsibility of the government alone? Isn't it the responsibility of our colleagues in the opposition?
But the opposition have disowned those persons and said they are criminals, not their protesters.
It's just not true. Because the question is this: if they are criminals, how did they find themselves in their group? How did you find yourself at the head of a group of criminals? The kind of rhetoric and the kind of speeches coming from our leaders in the opposition, it's appalling. I mean, that we call them leaders. Isn't this a time when we all should be saying how we put our country together, how we all should be patient, how we should grow? Some of our county headquarters, at least one of them, the business has almost totally collapsed. You saw how supermarkets were looted in Kisumu. That means jobs. That means a livelihood to a lot of people. And those are the people you lead. You would like that to happen. And those are the people you lead. Those are the people who are supposed to look up to you as a leader. Let me say this. Innocent, ordinary Kenyans went to the queue on 8th of August. They queued. They voted like you and I and went home. They actually don't understand why we are destroying their businesses, we're interrupting their lives. They don't understand. And yet, if we have a problem with the IEBC, there is a law in place on how we remove the CEO of IEBC. All you need to do is get a good lawyer, and there are plenty in this country, end up in court and say on the basis of Section 10, this is how I want to do, and I want this man removed. Ventilate your case and it's hard. What we're dealing with is just thuggery and an interest on the part of some of our leaders to destroy the country.
You just spoke about people having grievances, and Waziri, allow me to say this, that there's a message going viral on social media indicating a conversation between you and Moses Wetangula, the senator for Bungoma. He was sort of dissatisfied with your action yesterday, disallowing the demonstrations in the CBDs. First of all, is that your response, and why would you respond in such a manner?
I keep asking myself the question, don't public, you think we have come from heaven? We're human beings, those of us in public office, we're human beings like anyone else. And we too have rights to express ourselves. So when I express myself, why should that be a problem?
But you're talking about resolving issues. You just responded to him saying nonsense. Isn't there a better way of...
Because what he told me was nonsensical. It's as simple as that. I mean, nonsense is an English word which means what you're saying is not sensible. And it's there as an English word in the dictionary so that you use it to express yourself when someone is telling you doesn't make sense. I mean, there's no crime in that. I mean, it's an expression, it's an English word.
All right, so moving forward, what should you expect from the security sector as you approach October 26th?
We've done all the preparations we need to do as the security sector. We do not conduct elections. I have said that several times. Elections are conducted by the IEBC. The I in that acronym stands for independent, which means we can't direct them on what to do, and we cannot decide for them what to do. We do what they tell us to do. If they need police officers to escort election materials, we support them to do that. We have been planning about this for a long time. We've had several meetings with our regional commanders and everyone else involved in security. We are ready to provide facilitation to the IEBC to conduct an election on the 26th. And of course, we have another important national examinations, which is another important national event that is going on. So we are ready to provide support for that. That's what we are required to do as security sector, and we are ready to do it.
Thank you, Waziri, for your time on Citizen TV. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary in charge of Education and also acting for Interior Affairs, Waziri Fred Matiang'i. My name is Sam Gituku. Back to you in studio.